For the first 2 years of starting this channel, I was spending about 20 plus hours every single week writing scripts for my videos. And the three biggest lessons that I learned from doing that is: one, it's exhausting; two, I was constantly burning out; and three, it destroyed my consistency and my channel pretty much stopped growing. So instead of just continuing to grind through that broken workflow, I decided to spend the last 5 months testing a bunch of different AI tools to see if I could find just one that would help me solve the three biggest problems that I had, which was coming up with content ideas, writing outlines, and writing scripts for those videos. And I finally found one that does all three extremely well. So what I want to do in this video is show you the exact AI tool that I've been using to save 20 plus hours every single week. For me, I think that this is a pretty good hook. And I'll also walk you through my complete workflow so you can see exactly how I go from idea to a finished script in just a few minutes compared to the weeks that it used to take me. So the AI tool that I want to show you in this video is called Poppy AI, and Poppy is an AI tool that was built specifically for content creators. But unlike most AI tools out there that simply give you a chat box where you type something in and then get a generic response, Poppy takes a slightly different approach. Instead of the typical chat box, Poppy gives you a visual whiteboard where you can drag and drop literally anything: your outlines, your past videos, your research notes, your competitors' videos, your competitors' thumbnails. You can put all of that into Poppy and connect it directly to a chat window so that Poppy can use everything you've provided as context. So now when you have Poppy create ideas or create scripts, it's not guessing. It's actually able to pull from everything that you've provided to create a response that's way more in line with what you're looking for, instead of the generic garbage that you expect from other AI models. And that really brings us to the first major bottleneck that Poppy solves. Poppy makes it super easy to come up with content ideas that are actually backed by real data instead of just random guesswork. Instead of spending hours manually watching your competitors' videos and trying to figure out what made them successful, you can give those videos to Poppy, and Poppy can analyze all of those videos in just a few seconds and suggest high-performing titles and unique angles based on the patterns that they found from those videos. And once you've chosen the title and the angle that you would like to go with, Poppy can also provide you with a recommended structure for your video based on patterns that they also found in those videos. So instead of building an outline from scratch, you're essentially just tweaking what already works. And then you can feed that outline right back into Poppy and have it generate a complete word-for-word script. Now, just to be clear, by no means am I trying to insinuate that Poppy is going to magically replace your voice or your creativity. You still need to review every single line, make adjustments, and add on your own stories and examples. The difference is, instead of starting from scratch and staring at a blank page, you're starting with a solid first draft that gets you about 90% there. And going from 90% to 100% obviously takes way less time and mental energy than starting from zero. I don't know. I feel like this is pretty freaking good. And that difference could also be what takes you from publishing just one video per month to publishing 4 videos per month. So I know I've just explained what Poppy does, and I know it probably sounds like I'm really trying to hype this up, but I'm legitimately not. And to prove it to you, I'm going to show you guys exactly how I use Poppy to come up with content ideas based on what's already working, and not just in my niche, but in any niche. And the niche that I'm going to use for this example is the cooking niche.
This is a challenge, you little fucker.
And we're going to pretend that I want to make a video about the best vegan recipes. And no, I'm not vegan, but that's the example that we're rolling with. So the first thing that I would want to do is validate my idea by looking for outlier videos on the same topic. And by outliers, I'm talking about videos that have performed better than the channel's average, at least 2 or 3 times better. If I can find 3 or 4 outlier videos that were posted within the last year and are still getting views today, then that lets me know that there is legitimate interest for that type of video. So I wouldn't necessarily be wasting my time making a video that nobody's going to watch. Now, to do this, all I'm going to do is just come up here to the search bar, and I'm just going to type in best vegan recipes. There we go. And what I'm looking for from here is outlier videos that are no more than 1 year old and have performed at least 2 to 3 times better than the channel's average. And just so you guys know, if you guys want to also be able to see these outlier scores, then all you need is an active vidIQ subscription as well as the vidIQ Chrome extension. Once you've got both of them set up, you'll be able to see each video's outlier score and whether that video is still getting views today, which is extremely important because that tells you if the video is still relevant and actually worth modeling after. Now, this first video right here, despite being 3 years old, is actually a great example of the type of outlier videos that I'm looking for, because one, this video is still getting 12 views per hour, which means it's still relevant. It's still getting views today. On top of that, it has also performed 45 times better than the channel's average. So this is a great outlier video to add to the list. Now, this video is also another good outlier video to add to the list because it essentially matches the first one that we just found, which was, despite being 3 years old, it's still getting views, but this one actually did better. It performed 84 times better than the channel's average. So that would be video number 2. We're going to add that one to the list. And then if we keep looking, I like this one too. So this video is 2 years old. It's getting 7 views per hour, and this video performs 73 times better than the average for this channel. So this would also be one that I would add to the list. But from here, we just need one more video. It seems like this guy's pretty much got the vegan recipes on lock. Like, this guy is ranking for everything vegan recipes. So this is pretty much going to be the 4th video, which is also from that same channel. So this one still getting views. It's 1 year old. It's getting about 12 views per hour, and it also performed 29 times better than the channel's average. So this is pretty much just going to be the 4th outlier video that I'm going to add to the list. And that's pretty much all I'm trying to do here. I'm just trying to find outlier videos that have outperformed the channel's average and are still getting views today, because that lets me know that they are relevant. All right, so now we're inside of my Poppy board, and I have a Poppy chat window open, and these are the 4 outlier videos that we just identified. So all I'm going to do from here is just connect all 4 of these videos to this chat window. That way Poppy can analyze the titles and the content of the video itself to help me come up with strong titles and a unique angle for my own video. So I'll just quickly connect these by dragging that point here to the chat window. Do the same thing for this one, and then this one, and then this last one. And now that these 4 videos are connected to this chat window, Poppy is able to transcribe everything that was mentioned in the video, as well as analyze the title. And that's what we're going to need for the next step. Now, the way that I have Poppy perform this analysis is by first providing it with one of my highly optimized prompts that incorporates my title framework, as well as very detailed instructions on exactly how to analyze and how to present the results. So this right here is the prompt. And as you guys can see, it's a pretty large prompt that encompasses a lot of different details. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to just copy this prompt, and then I'm going to give Poppy a role to play. So I'm going to copy that, go back into Poppy, and then this right here, we'll just paste that. And then the other thing that I actually need to provide Poppy is my title framework. So that is actually located just off to the side right here. So I'm going to go ahead and also connect that to the chat so that it has everything that it needs. And then from there, I'll just zoom back in a little bit. Now that it knows its role, I'm going to just hit enter, and we'll see what Poppy gives us. And this right here is exactly why I say Poppy is by far one of the best AI tools out there, because instead of getting random generic titles, I'm getting a complete list of reliable, data-driven titles paired with unique creative angles that I can take, all based on insights that it pulled from the outlier videos that we found. So let's just go ahead and scroll through some of these so we can see what Poppy came up with. So the first thing that we're going to take a look at is just the titles that Poppy came up with. And as you can see, it provided 2 different titles. So there's an optimized title, which is based on what Poppy thinks will be the most optimized title based on the 4 outliers. And then the Ben's title is based on my own title framework that you guys saw me connect to the chat window. And then from there, what it does is it actually provides some sort of title scoring that is based on different metrics, right? So it's judging the title based on the click probability, the emotional intensity, the novelty, specificity, and then friction, and then giving an overall weighted score. And based on all these metrics, it looks like the optimized score is the one that is predicted to be the winner. And just below that, we have our creative angles and packaging. And the angles that you guys see right here is going to be for the optimized title. So this is all the creative angles it's saying that we can take based on the optimized title. So the first angle that we have is the conversion story. So the core angle for that would be personal transformation narrative with social proof. The hook could be, my dad said he'd never eat vegan food, then I made him this. And this is more of a before after case study with family testimonials. So that's going to be the first angle. The second one is the secret weapon. This would be insider knowledge that guarantees results. There's one vegan dish that meat eaters can't resist. That's okay. That's interesting. I like that one. The third angle is the challenge crusher. So solving the biggest vegan advocacy problem. The hook for that is tired of meat. Oh, click out of that. The hook is tired of meat eaters rejecting your food. This changes everything. I don't know about that one. I'm not feeling that one. Let's see. The fourth one is the taste test triumph. Core angle is blind taste test reveals vegan superiority. I served this to 10 meat eaters without telling them it was vegan. This one, I think, would be the one that I would probably go with. I really like these. I've seen videos like this before, and I often really like watching these types of videos. So, you're kind of just looking for the reaction when the people find out that what they just ate was actually vegan. So I like that. So let's see what it says. So the narrative is social experiment with real reactions. Yeah, which we just spoke about. And then we have the payoff. Prove that vegan can taste better than meat. I know a lot of people who would disagree with that, so I really like this one. But let's just keep looking. Let's see what kind of other creative angles it kind of came up with. So we have the simplicity shock, core angle, easiest recipes with biggest impact. The 3-ingredient vegan recipe converts meat eaters instantly. Not really. Okay, so let's see what it came up with for the other title, which was based on my title framework. So the first one was the Mythology Master, systematic approach to vegan conversion. I've converted 47 meat eaters using this exact method. I like the hook on that one, but I don't know. I would probably put this one in second place versus the test taste one that I really like so far. So the skeptical slayer, angle number 2. So overcoming the hardest resistant cases. Hook for this one is even the most stubborn meat eaters can't argue with this. I don't know. I don't like that one. Let's see. The speed surprise, rapid transformation in minimal time. Hook variant, 20 minutes to change someone's entire perspective on vegan food. I don't know about that one either. Angle 4, the result revealer, documented proof of a conversion success. The results shocked even me. Here's what happened. Data-driven case study with metrics. I'm not feeling that one either. I'm not really sold on that one. So let's see this last one. The personal journey, creator's own discovery and refinement process. After 50 failed attempts, I finally cracked the code. Personal story with lessons learned. Hard-won wisdom for vegan conversion. Yeah, I don't know. I'm still very much leaning towards the test taste one. I really like the angle on that one, so I think that that's the one we're going to use. But the final recommendation, let's see what it's coming up with. So I already have the one that I would most likely go with, but let's see what it came up with. So the optimized title wins. We already know that. And then we have an ABC micro variant to test. The 1 vegan recipes that converts meat eaters every time. The 1 vegan dish that converts even the biggest skeptics. And then we have this 1 vegan recipe converts meat eaters every time. So probably would not go with that. Converts every time. Converts. Yeah, I don't know. So far, I'm still stuck on that test taste one. So that's the angle that we're going to go with. All right. So at this point, we've not only validated our ideas by finding outlier videos, but we now have a predicted winning title and a creative angle that we can use for our own video. And the best part is that none of this is based on random information. Everything Poppy has pulled thus far was pulled from videos that actually outperformed the averages for their respective channels. So with that, we can confidently move on to the next step, knowing that everything that we have so far has been modeled after successful videos in the vegan niche. From here, all I'm going to do is ask Poppy to create a content structure for the creative angle that we decided to go with, which is angle number 4, the test, taste, triumph. So I'm going to go ahead and ask Poppy to do that. Create a content structure for, and then I'll just go ahead and copy this, and then I'll say paste that just like this. So create a content structure for angle number 4, the taste, test, triumph. So from there, I'll just hit enter. So here is the content structure for this particular angle that we chose to go with, which is the test, taste, triumph. So we have a hook, and let me just read this hook real quick because I'm actually really interested to see what it came up with. So it says, I served this to 10 meat eaters without telling them that it was vegan. What happened next shocked everyone in the room, including me. By the end of the night, 3 of them asked for the recipe, 2 wanted to know where they could buy it, and 1 literally said, if this is vegan, I've been missing out my whole life. So that's a pretty good hook. I actually really like that hook. But even if you didn't like it, like, you can at least get inspiration on one type of hook that you can go with. Like, obviously you can go with multiple different hooks, especially tailor it to the unique story that you're trying to tell. But for me, I think that this is a pretty good hook. It's definitely one that I could see myself using if I was actually in this niche. Now, the next thing that we have is the setup and the stakes. So the challenge itself is, we all know the struggle. You make amazing vegan food, but the moment people hear that it's vegan, they're shut down, which I have legitimately experienced before. I've seen this like firsthand. So this is legit, definitely legit. The experiment itself is, you decided to test something. What if you could prove that vegan food isn't just good for vegan food, but actually better than what they're used to? And then the stakes, you invited 10 of the biggest meat lovers you know. These are people who think a meal isn't complete without animal products. So I really like that. Like, I like that right there. The experiment that you're testing, the stakes, like, this is so realistic. Like, this is legitimate. I could definitely see myself making a video around this. Like, and this is really just giving me a lot of really good ideas, whether I want to actually incorporate this or tweak it a little bit. Like, this off rip is really, really good. And this entire content structure pretty much has everything we need. It has the stakes, it has the hook, we've got a ton of visual elements, we've got the recipe reveal. What else we got? The science behind success. So this is essentially our outline. This literally encompasses everything that we're going to need for the next step, which is where we're going to have Poppy generate a word-for-word script using this content structure. Now, it should go without saying that if this was a legitimate video that I was working on, I would actually take the time to review this entire content structure to make sure that it actually reflects the story that I want to tell. I wouldn't just take this outline and just give it to Poppy and ask Poppy to generate a script. But again, for the sake of this example, we're just going to say that this currently does reflect the story that I want to tell. From here, all I'm going to do is just scroll all the way down, and I'm just going to copy this. This is going to copy that last output. And then I'm going to come over to this tab right here. And this tab is where the prompt is that we're going to use to generate the word for word script. And all I got to do is just scroll down to this section right here where it's expecting inputs. So the input that it needs is just going to be the title for the video, which we already have. And that's the optimized title that we're going with. And then we got to specify the length of the video. And then we're just going to literally copy and paste the packaging breakdown that we went with, which was angle number 4, the taste test triumph. And then we're just going to paste the content structure that we just got from Poppy. So I'm going to just go ahead and make those changes, and then I'll show you what that looks like. All right, so here is everything that we need. I just changed the title. So here's the title for that video. I specified that I want it to be roughly 20 minutes, and then I pasted in the packaging breakdown that we got from Poppy. And then here is the entire content structure right here. Now, I know you guys probably noticed that this script alone is literally 38 pages long. And the reason that it's so long is because it literally incorporates everything. This prompt is pretty much a complete blueprint that tells Poppy how to think, write, and create in my own style. It took me about 2 weeks to really refine this prompt so that it could incorporate everything, so that when Poppy generated a script for me, the script would require the least amount of editing possible. So now that we've added everything that we have to add to this prompt, all I'm going to do from here is just go ahead and select everything, copy it, and then I'm going to go back to Poppy and I'm going to paste that entire prompt right here. And now we're going to watch Poppy do his thing. So I'm going to go ahead and hit enter. All right, guys. So here is the final product. This is the full word for word script that Poppy just generated for us. So what I want to do is just read through at least the hook, right? At least the intro, so that you guys can see that it is possible to have AI generate a word for word script that actually sounds good and not the typical generic, BS that you expect from other AI models. So I'm going to go ahead and read this, and you guys let me know if you guys think it sounds good or not. So let's go ahead and read this hook. So I served this to 10 meat eaters without telling them that it was vegan. What happened next shocked everyone in the room, including me. By the end of the night, 3 of them asked for the recipe, 2 wanted to know where they could buy it, and 1 literally said, if this is vegan food, I've been missing out my whole life. And I know some of you guys watching this are probably going through the same thing right now. You make amazing vegan food, but the moment people hear the word vegan, they shut down. They get this look on their face like you just told them that you're serving cardboard for dinner. And honestly, it's exhausting trying to convince people that plant-based food can actually taste incredible. So in this video, I'm going to reveal the exact recipe that converts even the biggest meat lovers. And more importantly, I'm going to show you the psychology behind why it works so well. You'll see the actual reaction from the taste test, get the complete recipe with all my pro tips, and learn how to use the same strategy to change minds about vegan food in your own life. So I don't know. I feel like this is pretty freaking good. Like, I'm really happy with this. The fact that AI wrote this is pretty legit. So I think that this intro is pretty good. But the other thing that you guys might notice is that it also provides different intro variations. So that's one of the things that I incorporated into that prompt. So it's giving me multiple. I think it gives me 3 different variations. Yep, here's variation number 3. So it kind of gives me some flexibility to kind of, see which intro I like the most. But that was our intro. I think it sounded good. You guys let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. But we have literally everything. We have our intro, and then from there we have section 1, the experiment setup, and then we're going into the recipe reveal and the taste test results. So we have everything. And if you guys are actually interested in reading this for yourself to see how the whole thing comes together and whether it sounds good when you're reading it, I'll link this actual script down in the description below. Now, by no means should you assume that this script is going to be perfect right out of the gate. Even with how good the intro sounds, I would still proofread the entire script to make sure that it actually covers every point that I want to make and that it actually sounds the way that I want it to. Remember, the whole point of using Poppy is for efficiency. You're starting with a solid foundation that I would say is probably around 90% there, which means that you can spend more time creating content and a lot less time stuck on ideations, outlines, and scripting. By using this exact same process, I've been able to come up with 3 or 4 strong content ideas in a very short amount of time, and they're already validated by outlier videos, and I can have Poppy generate scripts that require very minimal editing. And this is exactly what I meant when I say that Poppy can completely transform your workflow and help you save hours every single week, stay consistent, and produce more videos without the constant burnout. Now, I know that I've probably painted this really great picture of Poppy and how it completely transformed my workflow, which it did, but I'd be lying if I said that it was perfect, because unfortunately it's not. There are some real pros and cons that you should be aware of before deciding to bring it into your own workflow. So let's break those down so you can see if Poppy is worth it for you. Now, the first and by far the biggest con for me is the credit system. Every single prompt that you run uses a certain number of credits, and if you're not efficient with those prompts, you will burn through those credits pretty quickly. And to make matters worse, any unused credits that you have at the end of the month will not roll over to the following month. And as far as I know, there isn't like any other AI tools that also uses a credit system that allows you to roll any unused credits over to the following month. But the only reason that this is a big con for me is because the only way to get more credits is to upgrade your subscription to the next higher tier, which is not cheap at all. For example, if you want to go from the basic tier to the starter tier, that's going to cost you $1,100. And the reason that it costs so much is because they don't prorate what you've already spent on the basic tiers. So now you're looking at closer to $1,500 in total. And at first I thought that I might have just been confused about how their credit system works. So I decided to try and verify by emailing their support team. And it is indeed how it works. Now, as much as I am not a fan of this, I kind of get it. If you guys don't know, Poppy is a bootstrap company, so they're not backed by any major investors. They're just a group of developers who got together and decided to create this software. So I imagine they're most likely reinvesting every dollar they make into not only paying their devs, but also growing the company. And maybe that's why their pricing is currently the way that it is. I think if they can eventually make the move to a flat monthly subscription with no credit limits, they'll easily be one of the best AI tools out there. But until that happens, that's still one of the things that I would really like to see changed. Now, if I'm being completely honest, that is really my only gripe with Poppy. It's legitimately the only thing that I could come up with. Anything else that I point out, I feel like I would be just nitpicking at that point. Now, despite the whole credit system, I very much think that the pros that I'm about to show you far outweigh that one big con, which is the credit system. So let's just go ahead and take a look at some of the pros. Now, the first pro for me has to be the time saving. As someone who really values their time, I would much rather spend a few focused hours coming up with content ideas as well as complete scripts than the weeks and sometimes even months that I used to spend dreading that entire process. The second pro for me is the fact that I can pull in videos, templates, documents, voice memos, notes, literally anything, and I can use all of that as context. This is something that you can't do with Claude or ChatGPT, and as far as I know, there isn't any other AI tool that allows you to do this. If I'm wrong, then please let me know down in the comments. I'd genuinely be interested. But the fact that I can copy the link to a YouTube video and paste that right into my Poppy board, connect it to a chat window and have Poppy analyze it, extract key ideas, break down the structure, and quickly use the information for my own videos is a big deal for me because that saves me a lot of time. And I think that that alone gives Poppy a huge edge over a lot of other AI tools out there. Now, the third pro, just to be completely transparent, I haven't used this myself, but I still consider it a pro because of what I'm seeing, and that's going to be Poppy's API and chatbox integration. This API feature allows you to take everything that Poppy can do and you can plug it into platforms like Zapier, Make, or Slack and create some very unique custom workflows. Now, another huge pro for me, which kind of ties into the first one, is the fact that Poppy is such a powerful tool for analyzing your competitors. With Poppy, like I mentioned before, you can grab so many different pieces of content. You can grab your competitors' Instagram posts, their TikToks, their YouTube videos, and you can take all of that, put it into a Poppy board, and then you can even add in their sales pages, their landing pages. You can grab their emails, and you can have Poppy analyze and give you a complete breakdown of all of it. So you'll be able to see the type of copy they're using, the angles that are working, how the landing page is structured, and what emotional triggers they're trying to hit. And when you have all of this information, you can quickly just model after it. So you're not starting from scratch or trying to test multiple different angles to see what works with your audience. And if I'm being honest, with everything that I see Poppy offers, it kind of feels like I'm just scratching the surface by only using it for content creation. But in my opinion, that is why I think that the pros far outweigh the cons that I mentioned earlier. If you're someone who's currently struggling with consistency because scripting just takes a long time and you see the value in investing in a tool that can save you, 20 plus hours every single week, then I think that that Poppy is absolutely worth checking out. And another thing that I would also consider is the fact that tools like Poppy are no longer just nice to haves. They're quickly becoming must-haves, because while you're spending weeks trying to come up with ideas, scripts, your competitors are using AI to do all of that in a fraction of the time. They're publishing faster, testing more ideas, and building momentum while most people are stuck at the starting line. So if you're not using tools like this, you're essentially doing things the hard way. You're burning time, you're burning energy, and you're falling behind people who have figured out how to get more done using AI. Now, with that being said, if you want to check out Poppy and see if it fits into your workflow, I'll have a link down in the description. And if you have any questions about setting up your frameworks or optimizing prompts, drop a comment and I'll do my best to help you.